Hi everyone. I'm going to do a short video today to help you in your goal setting process. I want to give you specific tips and strategies, 10 in particular, so that you can make the most of this year, so that the goals that you're setting for yourself, you can make it as likely as possible that you're going to achieve these goals. And there are tips that influence whether or not you achieve your goal. There's a process in setting goals that actually helps to influence whether or not you're going to achieve your goals. I know this because I've applied this for years and years and years being an entrepreneur. And I know this because I've worked with thousands of other entrepreneurs and I've seen their goal setting process and I've seen the feedback in what works and what doesn't. So I want to set you up to succeed and give you some tips that no one ever teaches you in school. There's no courses in school about how to set goals. You need to learn this on your own. And there are specific things that will influence whether or not this year is going to be successful. And it starts in how you are setting your goals. So I'm going to teach you how to actually set goals. I'm going to give you 10 points. Point number 1, you need to write it down. You need to have a journal. You need to have a Word document. I prefer not to use Word documents because then they just get saved on your computer somewhere and you never see them. My preferred modes are either a journal or a whiteboard. I use both actually, where I write my goals in the journal and I write it on a whiteboard. Why do I do this? Because I can see it every single day. And you need that type of reminder until it's conditioned inside of you that this is what I'm going for. When so many people fail because they have these vague statements of what they want to achieve, they never write it down. 3 weeks into January, they're just back in the default behavior of their life and no change ever gets done. So point number 1, write it down. Point number 2, when you write it down, affirm it as if you're going to achieve this. Say, I will achieve blank by blank date. And you think, oh, some of you might be thinking, I don't know if I really want to do that. Because when I affirm it, it sets myself, what if I don't achieve it? Well, then I have to look at that thing and it reminds me that I'm a failure. Who cares? We always say at the time, what if I fail? What if you succeed? How many times do you tell yourself, what if I succeed, compared to how many times you tell yourself, what if I fail? What if you succeed? Failure is just education. It's just feedback that you can correct on the next go around. So write it in the affirmative, because when you say, I am going to achieve it, it changes your motivation. Point number 3, when I write my goal down, it has to be very specific in terms of me knowing when I actually achieve it. So a goal like, I want more money, or I want a bigger business, or I want happiness. Those are just general vague. They're vague. You don't know when you've actually achieved it. What does more money mean? Like a dime, a dollar? What does more business mean? 1 more customer? Does it mean 100 more customers? 1,000 more customers? Be specific. There's a reason for this. When there's specific, we can make a specific action plan and we can determine how close we are getting to that. We're able to get feedback. So specific, that leads to point number 4. Point number 4 is that you need to have a specific time frame. So you're written it down, you're affirming it, it's specific about what you're going to achieve, it's specific about when you're going to achieve it, and that leads into point number 5. Specifically write down for every goal why you actually want to achieve it. Why does this matter? Now you might think, why do I need to write down why? Because that's the motivational fuel. And when you write it down where you can see it and you can remind yourself, that's what makes kind of your passion burn, is to see that statement of why you want it. And you want to be conditioning this every single day. You see what specifically, by what time frame, and you see why specifically. Now point number 6. Why is point number 5? Point number 6 is that all this process, the what you want, by when, and why, needs to be congruent with who you are. So you need to understand yourself. You need to understand the values that you have, and I write those down too. So I write down, let's keep going on the path. Write down what I want, by what period, why I want it, and why it's congruent with who I am. Because when you have that, it makes you just burn inside every single day and push harder than you've ever pushed, and it's clear and concise. Point number 7. I'm going to get in, why did I want it specific about the what? Because if you specifically know what you want to achieve, you can chunk it down. And this is a critical point. If someone says, I want to double my business. What does that mean? How much money does it equate to? Because when you know what that means, then you can then say, well, I've got 12 months of the year. I want to double my business in the next 12 months. Doubling my business equals this much money. I can take this much and divide it into 12. It means I now just have to increase by this much each month. And then take it down more. Take it to as small a piece as possible, because that's the most digestible. That's the least intimidating. You want to chunk down that what to a very, very small piece, which leads into point 8 of when you're making a plan, which you need to write down. Point number 8 is make a plan. Try to make your plan as small as possible to the smallest what chunk, so that every day you wake up, you've got a specific plan of action to go after that smallest piece. Because then what happens is every single day, a habit is formed, a habit is solidified, and you're taking consistent small actions that compound over time. And the large what that you want will be achieved by focusing on the small actions daily, which leads to point number 9. Condition emotional happiness response to action taking. This is why I want to chunk. I want to chunk that big goal into a tiny part. I want to chunk that big plan into a tiny plan, because when I'm taking these small actions each day, I'm giving myself rewards. Create a reward regime. So you're conditioning a positive emotional response from taking action, taking small actions. You're not looking at your goal saying, I'm only going to be happy when I achieve that goal at the end of the year. No, you're going to achieve victories every single day, because you're conditioning yourself to be happy when you achieve that small chunk in your plan that leads to the small chunk in the what and all the way back. To point number 10 now, keeping it as short as I can. Be accountable to somebody. Find a partner. Find someone that you can share your goals with. It's got to be someone that you trust. Don't just blast your goals out to everyone. Find someone that you can trust. Tell them your goals. Share specifically why you want to achieve them. Share specifically your action plan, and specifically that small chunk, that small vital behavior, and then hold yourself accountable. So check in on a weekly basis and say, I did my chunks, and keep this going over and over and over and over again. If you do all these things, you are far more likely to achieve your goals. If you just say, I want to achieve this, and you stop right there, and that's all you do, the odds aren't in your favor. The odds are not strong that you are going to achieve your goal. But if you do what I've said here, you specifically determine what you want. You write it down. You write when you're going to achieve it by. You write why you want to achieve it. And it's all congruent with what you value. You chunk that what down into a small piece. That leads to your monthly, your weekly, your daily goals, and it's all aligned. Then you create a plan by looking at those little chunk pieces and think of specific plans to achieve those things. Again, it's all written down. You condition yourself to feel positive about actions that you take, and then you hold yourself accountable. You record the actions that you're taking and you share it with someone else. If you do all those things, you are setting yourself up for success. So this year isn't going to be some vague wish, some New Year's resolution that gets broken in the next 3 weeks. This year, you're actually going to succeed, and that's how you do it.